So what are your kids doing after high school? It might sound like the scariest question ever. And I have 5 kids, so I can speak on behalf of all parents that are worried about this. My oldest 3 are the ones that I'm going to focus on today because my youngest 2 are still in high school. But between my oldest 3, I have 1 moving to Spain, I have 1 working at Yellowstone, and I have 1 that started a business his senior year in high school. And by the end of this, you'll realize that there are so many paths to be successful in life, you don't need to worry. I am not anti-college, but I am anti-going away to a university just because you aren't sure what you want to do yet. $25,000 a year is way too much money to spend when you are an undecided person, especially when you might ultimately decide that college wasn't even the path you needed to accomplish your dream. And I understand being the parent in this situation where you're trying to advise your kid in this crazy world on how to be a successful person, how to build a life where they're able to have health insurance and take vacations and be comfortable. And that's all you want for them. And I understand that because that's exactly what I want for my kids. And so I had to be very brave in order to even entertain some of these other ideas. But now that I have, I feel more confident than ever because I'm seeing in real time that my kids are accomplishing things and they are going to be just fine. And if you grow up in a household where your parents were like, you better go to college and society and school counselors and everybody's telling you that that's the only way to be successful, it's really hard to deviate and have an alternative path. So what does this look like? Because we know you don't want your kid to drift. It's about layering skills, experience, and financial stability. So my oldest kid, my daughter, graduated in 2022. She did not know what she wanted to be. She told people that she wanted to go into IT because she wanted to have an answer for all the adults in her life that were asking her incessantly of like, what's next? What's next? And so that was her fill in the blank answer. And she was always good at computers, so it wasn't on a left field, but her heart really wasn't in it. So she started off at community college, and I'm basically now just going to list what she did because to go down the whole rabbit hole of each, how we got to each adventure is its own story. But anyway, she was a nanny in Houston for a year and finished her associate's degree while she was there online. And then when she came back home, we found the Disney College program. She went down for that. When she came back, we still wanted to be layering skills. We still wanted her to be getting education. And so she found something called the TEFL program, which is a certificate you can earn online so that you can teach English here in the United States online, or you can teach it overseas, which is really cool. So that opens the door to a lot of things. She went back down to Disney, which is where she's at this moment. Now I pick her up in May and she is looking at getting a visa and moving over to Spain to learn Spanish. So at 21 years old, she was able to attain her associate's degree, a certificate, really cool jobs for her resume. And now she's going over to Spain to learn Spanish because she knows what career she wants to do, and this is going to help facilitate that. The best part is she has saved a significant amount of money because that was part of the plan, part of the conversation we had with her at the very beginning. If you're going to live under our roof, you need to save as much money as you possibly can. And I verified that and I checked with it. I don't even have to anymore because she is a money-saving machine and she understands that that's going to propel her to the next level when she does finish up her education. So now we move forward to 2024 when my son graduates and I have another child that isn't sure what he wants to do, which is absolutely okay because people switch careers 5 to 7 times in their life. So we phrase it with our kids at what career do you want to try first? Not what career do you want to have and pretend like they're going to have it for the next 30 years. That's really naive, especially with technology today. In fact, I venture to say my kids, their career hasn't even been invented yet, or at least a few of them. And so we're just getting the skills now for the next several years, and they can make a great living that way. So my son doesn't know what he wants to do. He spends a semester at community college, and then he goes down with my daughter for a semester at Disney World. He has an absolute blast. And when he comes back, he tells us he wants to become an electrician. So our community college has a technical program, and he did a year of that. And I'm very proud to say that he will graduate with that program in May. So next month here. And now he is going to work at Yellowstone because he's 19 years old. And this is the time in his life to take advantage of really cool opportunities. Not to mention, he'll have Disney World and Yellowstone now on his resume. So he's heading out there for the summer. And then when he comes back, he's going to start his apprenticeship to become a journeyman electrician. And so we're really proud of him about that. But he was not ready to make that decision a year prior. And if I had sent him right to a 4-year university, we would have spent an awful lot of money on an education that he ultimately wouldn't need, especially if he decided he wanted to pivot to this. Another thing that my son's experience reminded me was that most high school kids can only name 10 to 20 different types of careers. And there are thousands of careers out there. There are careers that not only do your kids need to become acquainted with, but if you want to help them, you need to become acquainted with. And there's a lot of different avenues for you to explore to understand what opportunities are out there. And it's not just going to be like what's already in your head. You have to do some research. So now we are on to kid number 3, and he graduates next month in 2026, and he is this close to having his associates in IT because he did a lot of dual enrollment during his junior and senior year. His brother had done dual enrollment too, but we took it to a whole new level with kid number 3. Anyway, so he's about to graduate, and right now as I make this video, it's spring break, and he is touring Spanish language schools in Madrid. And so he's really making me earn like my mom hat as far as doing research. So it's just this giant coincidence that both my son and my daughter want to move to Madrid to learn Spanish. It was just, she decided she wanted to learn it because she had made so many friends at Disney that spoke Spanish, and it just became a goal of hers. And then he happened to meet this foreign exchange student. So anyway, it's just not anything I could have ever predicted. But I'm happy to report that when I started doing research on European schools all over, I mean, in Germany, in Norway, like pick a country. I was doing all sorts of research over there, and it's way more affordable to go to school than you realize. In fact, they have a lot of free or inexpensive programs. They have vocational schools. They have the language schools I'm looking into specifically, but it's really worth a look. I'm actually going to do quite a few follow-up videos on that because I feel like a lot of people need to know about this. We created a framework because we've been working on this for 4 years, and I have 2 more in the pipeline. And I wanted to chronicle all the things that we have learned because I honestly want to help as many parents as I can and as many kids as I can, maybe avoid making some consequential mistakes. And so in this framework, we have isolated some things that we feel are crucial. One, I think kids living away from home for a little bit, but debt-free. There are so many opportunities. I mentioned Yellowstone in the Disney College program, but there are country clubs, there are camp counselor jobs, there are resort jobs, there are jobs all over our country and overseas that they can take in short-term bursts where they're able to make friends with kids their own age, network, act in a professional environment, save a little bit of money, and make lasting memories. We also feel it's really important to learn how to explore jobs. And there's multiple ways of doing that. One of them involves AI because, like it or not, that's here to stay. And that is going to be involved in your kid's career in one way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter if they're an electrician, if they're a journalist, if they're going into marketing, if they want to become a doctor, AI is now a part of their career. And so that's highlighted a lot in our guide. We explain how to have some of those difficult yet fundamental conversations to make sure everybody's on the same page as far as the schedule, as far as what their contribution to the family may or not be. And we just feel like a financial conversation right at the get is imperative for them to have a bright future. We talk about building an IRA and a savings account because there's only so many opportunities that you're ever going to have where you're able to stay at home and sock away money, and that cannot be wasted. If you're a parent wondering if your kid has a plan, then this is for you. Grab a guide in the link. This is where we would start.